P-A-S-C-A-L.
You know about Jaguar Wright, right?
Yes.
Okay. So she was on Piers Morgan just like last week. She had some very, very scathing things to say about Jay-Z and Beyonce, right? So Piers Morgan, about 2 days later, went on to his show and he said this.
Thing about platforms, the reality of the modern world is that pretty much everyone has a platform as long as there's something to say that other people want to hear. That's why we invited her on to be interviewed. The people making these claims have an audience with or without shows like mine. Well, Jaguar Wright unexpectedly made several serious allegations about Jay-Z and Beyonce during that interview. As I said in the moment, they were not present to respond or defend themselves, but now they have. Their lawyers contacted us to say that those claims were totally false and have no basis in fact, and we've therefore complied with the legal request to cut them from the original interview. Editing interviews is not something we do lightly at a show called Uncensored. But, like the proverbial cries of fire in a crowded theatre, there are legal limits on us too. And we apologize to Jay-Z and Beyonce.
Okay. So you saw that. Now, I talked about this on my second channel already, and I definitely had my own personal opinions about this, but I wanted to hear this on a legal standpoint, right? He's bringing this person on. He is just a platform. Now, I get it. Like, let me just say this too. I get it that he did bring her on. This is the decision that he made. I'm assuming that he did his due diligence, right? By checking out who this woman is, what she stands for, what she says. And I will say this too. I don't believe everything she says, but I do also believe that a broken clock can be right 2 times a day. Now, with that being said, she said some very scathing things about Beyonce and Jay-Z, basically saying like, you know, they're hiding kids and they're doing crazy ritualistic things. And they're very nasty people, as she said, stuff like that. Monsters, right? So, of course, this got Jay-Z and Beyonce so mad, it moved them enough to literally go and it wasn't even a cease and desist, by the way. It was not even that. He was given an ultimatum. And this is what their lawyer, what Jay-Z and Beyonce's lawyer said on TMZ, that he gave Piers Morgan an ultimatum. Now that you have all that background info, when I look at this situation, I go, wait a second. Now, this dude has a platform. He's bringing people on. They're talking about things. It's not like he has his hands shoved up their ass and making them flap their gums. If they say what they say what they say. He did say, and it's true, he did say during that time, he's like, hey, Beyonce and Jay-Z are not here to defend themselves on those claims. And he just kind of moved on with the conversation. How is he in trouble over Jaguar Wright? I just am trying to understand that part.
So I don't know the context of the show they were in. That will matter because if the viewers are led to believe that he's acting as a reporter, reporting on the news, if they're led to believe that he is presenting to them facts and evidence that will go into the case, then that looks a lot more like defamation. And that's something that no organization wants to be involved in. And so they will back all the way up and say, whoa, we're so sorry. We didn't know she was going to say that. We haven't vetted those claims. And we don't know if they're true or not. And so as a result of that, we have to assume they aren't true. And we're going to go ahead and redact the interview and we're going to apologize. They're playing their cards right to avoid a defamation lawsuit. What I do find interesting about this, though, is that if it is Piers Morgan Uncensored, if other people have made outrageous claims on their show, which they have on multiple occasions, there are other guests who have come on the show and said horrible, vitriolic, just plain evil things that everyone assumes and knows the program doesn't agree with. And so it's going to come down to, is the public going to likely be confused regarding the position of Piers Morgan and the news outlet. No news outlet should be held, in my opinion, not news
Accountable?
outlet. That's the problem, is it sounds like they're a news outlet, right? He has come from a news organization. But I think if you have an opinion article and you're in the opinion section of the newspaper, and it's very clear that this is an opinion-based show, that he's presenting opinions for which the
Right.
network might not agree, I think you've more than covered your basis. I think their concern, the larger concern, comes down to financial concerns. Did they just piss off every single Beyonce and Jay-Z fan by not issuing the retraction and not coming out with a statement to say, we have no idea who this crazy lady is, we don't believe her, blah, blah, blah. To me, it's overkill, but from a general financial perspective, it makes sense. They want to appear as neutral as possible, present the claims against P. Diddy. P. Diddy is safe to accuse right now. P. Diddy is locked up. P. Diddy is at the end of his career. And this is something that you and I discussed last time.
Right.
Stars, as they start to fizzle out and they're towards the end of their career, are much easier to attack in the public sphere than someone like Jay-Z or Beyonce, who are at the height of their career. I personally believe Jaguar. I'm going to be honest. I mean, I have no reason not to believe her. I think that she has an inside scoop. She's been right about so many other things that it makes me go, maybe. But regardless, it's still rumor and speculation. I don't think they had to go as far as they did. That tells me that they're scared of not a lawsuit, but of being framed as being conspiratorial, right wing, conservative. Oh, Piers Morgan's just on the other side, and he's just a conspiracy theorist who believes in the whole, all of these allegations being raised on the internet, and he lacks credibility. That's, I think, what they're way more afraid of than the potential legal consequences of the case. I think they'll win on a legal basis. I don't think that's their concern.
Yeah. Well, I will say this. I mean, okay. So Piers Morgan and his show, there is a bigger person that basically funds his show. His name is Rupert Murdoch. Okay. Billionaire. Okay. He runs a lot of different, he's a media mogul. Okay. And he runs a lot of different outlets. And one of them happens to be an outlet that Piers Morgan is under, and his shows are being funded under. Now, in my mind, I instantly think Jay-Z and Beyonce are ridiculously rich. Who's in their corners? Not just some regular guy that's, at McDonald's flipping burgers and working on fries. They're talking and hobgobbling and rubbing elbows with big names, big movers. You got to remember, I mean, Jay-Z owns, I think, a football team. I don't remember. He owns a bunch of different things. The dude got big money, right? And let's not forget about Beyonce too. She got B's in her bank account too. So you look at that and you go, okay, those people are in his corner. Then you bring in Piers Morgan, who is, some people love him, some people hate him. Okay. Some people think he's just there for the salaciousness. Some people think that he's, there to do the news. I leave that up to you guys. But he brings on someone who is extremely vocal about her thoughts. Some of these things, like you just said, you believe her. Whether you believe it or not, she has no backing. There's no proof of those things. Now, the things that about Diddy, let's be real, Diddy's in trouble now. So that's all coming to fruition right now, right? But as far as any of the other stuff, the Illuminati stuff, the adrenochrome stuff, the all that other stuff, all that crazy.
Oh, did she mention that too?
No. But she's been on other shows. But she's known to be on other shows to say these kinds of things. Okay. She didn't say that. She didn't get an opportunity. She didn't get an opportunity to talk about that. Okay. Because I know for a fact if she was talking crazy on that, he would have been apologizing to more than just Beyonce and Jay-Z. There'd be a whole lot of other people he'd be apologizing to for sure. But in the short amount of time that she was on, she did drop some crazy stuff, some wild stuff. Now, I wouldn't say crazy. It's unfair to say crazy, but wild things, okay, that have not been backed at all. Diddy, like I agree with you. Yes, he in trouble. And a lot of the things that were speculated about him are now we're seeing it materialize right in front of our faces. But when she started dragging in Beyonce and Jay-Z saying that there's bodies buried in suitcases out there, so on and so forth, woo, those are allegations that have no merit, that have no proof. So of course, it's coming out of her mouth, though. He's not saying it. Sure, he's bringing her on because he knows for a fact he's going to get clicks on it. She's big right now, especially right now. She's huge because everybody's going, damn, I was wrong about Jaguar. Jaguar, my bad, girl. Yo, I need to go re-listen to every single episode you've ever done on your podcast or on your YouTube channel so I could just make sure I'm caught up. She might be saying everything that's true. He knows that he's doing this for clicks. He knows he's getting the views and the eyeballs on his show and also expanding to possibly a new demographic of listeners by bringing her on. But he has no control over what she says. So he did say, as soon as she started talking wild, he tried to rein her back in by saying, hey, they're not here to defend themselves, right? And then he kind of moved on into the next, back into the Diddy stuff, right? He kind of, put her back towards her true north, right? So how's he on the chopping block of possibly losing funding or losing his job? Shoot, even getting a defamation lawsuit for something that he has no control over, which is the person's mouth, the other person's mouth. Do they have any legal standing to sue Piers? For real?
They may. The threat is enough, but I don't think, again, I don't think that that's the concern necessarily. I think it's a lack of funding, a loss of funding. Now knowing that about Murdoch, most likely he has competing interests in defending those two individuals. If there are financial investments he's made into either of those individuals or their properties and their assets, then obviously he's going to want to protect them and their image, which is exactly what I was saying before, right? There are other individuals, larger corporations that are going to get involved to make sure that they clean up the reputation of whoever they're associated with. What I do find fascinating about Jaguar is that if what she is saying is untrue, if she was not confident in what she was saying and she didn't have some basis in what she's saying, not saying that she does, she may just be reckless. She may just be cray-cray, okay? But if she was afraid of these people and what they might do to her, legally speaking, and she wasn't confident in what she was saying, she wouldn't be saying it. Because if even Piers Morgan is keeping his mouth shut and saying, no, we don't have evidence of that.
Right.
Then you have to wonder, right? That's why I say I tend to believe her over Piers Morgan or anyone else, because she's the one she is the one who's at greatest risk in terms of legal liability, concerns. She could end up bankrupting herself, 10 times over. She could end up losing her entire reputation, her life, her career, the connection she has in the industry. But I don't think that she's saying anything outside of the realm of possibility, to be frank. I had mentioned that there's a possibility that there may be deaths associated with this criminal enterprise that haven't been noted, that haven't been noticed, and that won't be brought up. And another reason I tend to agree, or at least somewhat give her some credibility, is if you look at the case of a certain Mr. J.E., in that case, NBC had the story 4 years before it was republished and resurfaced and came to the forefront. And it was, who was it? Project Veritas that got the video of one of the news anchors relenting, being so upset, so callously upset and disgusted that story was robbed from her, that she went up the chain to get approval to talk about the JE case 3 years prior to him being arrested again, 3 years prior to everything resurfacing. She said, I had everything. I had the victims. I had the island. I had everything on Clinton. I had the travel documents. it's insane that I was shut down. This is messed up. Now, she was messed up because she was upset that she missed out on the story. She missed out on the clout, right? That's why she was mad. Not that the truth was never revealed. Not that the truth was shut down by NBC for more than 3 years. We suspect more than 3 years.
I mean, well, you know, when it comes to JE, that of course that's a whole other can of worms as well, and you know, obviously that's a that's a whole other conversation in itself, which is, you know, the list has never been put out, so on and so forth. And yes, there are other people out here that know information, and they have not been, you know, they have not had that stuff out, or we will never, unfortunately, it seems like we will never actually see. We will never actually see the truth, which is kind of frustrating about that. And I even say this too, and this is a little bit of left turn, but I'm gonna get right back on course here in a second. I even believe that if we get a certain president or person into presidency, we're still never gonna see the list. I'm gonna keep it real. I don't think we're ever gonna see that list ever. It doesn't matter who's
Which
promising such and such. Trump has been promising that he's gonna, as soon as once I get back in office, the list is coming out.
For JE or P. Diddy?
JE.
Ah,
You know what I mean?
interesting.
Now, yeah, interesting. And let's be real. Whatever side you were on, I don't care politically. I don't. But I'm just saying that's something that I just feel is a full-on lie, right? But when it comes to this, okay, when it comes to Jaguar Wright and the things that she's been saying, like, I get it. There's things in here, you know, there's, like I said before, a broken clock can be right 2 times a day. But at the same time, you know, until we actually have more proof of said thing, it's tough for her to be putting out information out there, especially on such a platform, a big platform like Piers Morgan's Uncensored show. It's a big thing to say on a channel like that. And it's true. He has had people on his show that have talked crazy on his show. That's the whole purpose of the show. He brings in people with opposing views, and he's kind of like the ringleader. You know what I mean? He's kind of the mediator. He brings in hardcore leftists and extreme rights and all that stuff, and he puts them all in one room basically, virtually, and he just lets them have at it. He sits back and he just watches these people lose their minds, arguing with each other and all that stuff. That's what he's known for, or at least that's what that channel or that show is known for. Now he can basically call the show censored because he cut out that piece. It's not like he sat there 10 toes down and said, nah, I ain't doing nothing. The show's called Uncensored for a reason. She said what she said. That didn't come out my mouth. It came out hers. I tried to rebuttal and basically say, hey, they're not here to defend themselves, you know, and then we moved on to the next topic, and it was that was it. So it is interesting that he is backing down. The other thing too, I will say this too, his show ain't live. The show is pre-recorded. So he could have had an opportunity to literally go and just cut that ish out. Sure, Jaguar Wright would have been sitting there saying, hey, you cut out the part about Jay-Z and Beyonce, right? But at the same time, if it was going to be a problem, he could have had an opportunity ahead of time before this even aired for him to nip it in the bud and call it a day. But unfortunately, that's not the case here. But that's the thing, though. I look at it and I'm like, all right, you have a show called Uncensored. You know, that's the whole point. You know, it's like going Piers Morgan raw. Okay, it's raw. Let them talk. If that's how they're going to talk, that's how they're going to talk. If you lose the platform, then hey, there's always Rumble. There's always other platforms in which you could do the show. You see what I'm saying? So,
oh yeah,
it's interesting.
It is interesting.
Somebody's in his pocket. Somebody's hand is in his pocket, and I think he got scared, and he's like, "Damn." Well, and like I said, his lawyer, the Beyonce and Jay-Z's lawyer, even said, "Yo, we gave him an ultimatum. That's it. You know what I mean? We gave him an ultimatum. We didn't sit there and go, can you please, or we're going to give you a cease and desist. No, they said, we're giving you an ultimatum. Either you take that issue down or you're going to have some problems. That's crazy. In other words, they're that powerful that they can literally take that man's job. The other thing I also thought was interesting is that was the only time that we've heard anybody in Diddy's corner or that are in Diddy's orbit saying something. saying moving or saying something to
I had no involvement.
yeah.
You better take this down because it's not true. You're right. This is at least the first time I've heard of it. Yeah. Where anyone's come out publicly and said, yeah, I went to the parties, but it's not true. I had no involvement in this. Or, yeah, I went over to it. Like Ellen DeGeneres ain't coming out and saying what she was doing at these parties, right? Like she hasn't come out and claimed she wasn't there. Same with Oprah. Pull out the list. Pull out the list of the names we already know. People who've already talked about it, right? Where we already have photos of some people at the white party, right? So it is interesting that this is the tipper. And what it makes me wonder is what is Mr. Murdoch concerned about?
I'm wondering about that too. One
Why?
thing is interesting. That's a good question too. I'm sorry. I got to play this. Yes. What does Rupert Murdoch know? And why is his name Rupert? It's a weird name to be named. Anyway, but here it is. Nicole B even said this too, which is interesting too. To me, that means it's all true. Laughing my ass off. Yeah, if you really think about it, why would they trip? Why would they be tripping so hard? The other thing I also realize is that, let's keep it a buck, no one's going to be bringing Jaguar Wright to any major network shows ever again. It's a wrap. I want you to know that it's a wrap. You are never going to see Jaguar Wright on CNN. You're not going to see our News Nation. You ain't never going to see her on Court TV, MSNBC, or any of these major networks at all. Why? Because of what just happened. They just let her on the show. She talked her talk, okay, and almost got Piers Morgan fired, if not worse than just fired. And that's crazy to me. And the fact that they responded that quickly about that, when there's so many rumors spreading around the world about not only just Jay-Z and Beyonce, so many other people, Ashton Kutcher, and all the other people too, their reaction was so fast that they said, no, you ain't gonna, no. She's saying some crazy stuff now. We gotta nip this in the bud. She ain't gonna go see any TV shows ever again. Okay. So watch, guys. That's crazy. That's crazy. They just silenced her through silencing Piers Morgan. Ain't that about to shut your mouth?
Pascal. You are now rocking with that dude Pascal. We be going wild.